My name's Larissa and I have a condition known as brittle asthma. There are times when I don't feel like people have respected what I want and they haven't listened to me. There was this one time when I was due to sit my A-level exams and I was in hospital at the time, and even though the doctors wouldn't discharge me, we came to an agreement that I would discharge myself.
Well, I'd really like to self-discharge myself from the hospital because I really want to go and do my exam in school.
Okay. Well, I'm happy if you are to sort of go and do your exam, but we would want you to come back immediately after.
Yeah, that's fine as long as I get to do the exam.
Okay, happy with that?
Yes.
All right then.
The school called the day before and offered me extenuating circumstances, which means that I could either have extra time or just get my predicted grade.
Well, I've had a message that you're planning on coming to school to take your exam, is that correct?
Yeah, I am.
Well, we're a little bit concerned about whether you're going to be able to cope with the exam process.
Well, I really want to take the exam and I feel well enough to self-discharge myself.
Okay, well, another option is that we could look into giving you extenuating circumstances so you don't have to sit the exam at all.
This made me feel really embarrassed and sad, as I really wanted to get the grade by my own merit and just be treated like everyone else and not let my condition get in the way. Before the exam, my head of year came up to me in front of all my friends and offered me extenuating circumstances again, which really annoyed me as I had already spoken to them about the arrangements.
Okay, right, well unfortunately we're not going to let you sit the exam today.
Why?
We've gone over this a few times now, but we just don't think that it's good for you or other students really.
But I'm fine at the moment.
Yeah, but you know, you have been very ill and we don't want to take that risk for you or to distress other students, maybe distract them while they're doing their exam.
If I was that ill, then the doctor wouldn't have let me come and take the exam.
No, but we've talked about this, haven't we? And you know, we gave you a few other options and unfortunately...
You gave them as options, you didn't say I had to actually abide by them.
Yeah, but we've got to think about the safety of other students and yourself. But you know, we've decided that it's not you can't sit the exam.
You can't just suddenly change your mind like that.
The things that are important to me are spending time with my friends, going to university, having a job and getting out, and my faith. Uni has always been important to me, as I have always had a dream of becoming a paediatric nurse, which is why my education is really important. Even though my attendance was only 40% through my GCSE and A-level period, I achieved 7 A stars and 6 A's at GCSE and 2 A's and a B at A-level, which I'm really proud of. I was in hospital at the time during my UCAS application, and the family who I was living with at the time took in my personal statement for me to my form tutor so I could get feedback, but the teacher never had time and never bothered. I don't think that people understand how important it is to me, as people say I should just go through university clearing and go to university just for the experience, as it doesn't matter if I get into lots of debt, and that I should just have fun. People really don't understand that I really want to do nursing. While I was at school, I had to take my meds during the school day, which were delivered through a syringe driver, which I carried around in a small bag. My syringe had to be changed daily, and my line had to be changed every 72 hours. I would have happily done this at school by myself, privately in the girls' toilets. However, I was told by my teachers that I had to do it in the school nurse's office, which meant that I have to go out of my way every day, with my friends having to wait outside, which I felt that a lot of attention was being drawn to me unnecessarily. When I did go and just do this by myself in the toilets, the school nurse would come and find me and take me out of lessons and single me out, which drew a lot of attention to my condition.
Sorry to interrupt, Mrs. Smith. Is Larissa here? Larissa?
Yeah.
You haven't been to see me to take your medication. Can you come with me now, please? Come on. You really have to remember to come and see me.
I also had to take a lot of oral medication, but it was school policy to hand this in to the nurse. I would have to take my medication every 2 hours, which meant I'd have to visit the nurse's offices every 2 hours, so I often didn't just bother giving it in. This could have been avoided if the teachers had actually spoken to me about how I would have liked to take my meds, and also how I would have been able to just change the syringe and line quickly by myself. I was involved in my church youth group, and I went to a dance group for a while when I was younger. I've never felt I've had the right equipment to fully participate in things I've wanted to do. There was a few times in youth group when they wouldn't let me to go to the residentials or day outings because they weren't happy for me to take my nebuliser, which had to be plugged in and used 4 to 6 times a day. This made me feel really unhappy and annoyed, as the youth group didn't even ask me whether this was an option. They just made it clear that I wasn't allowed to go.
Hello, my name's Matt. I'm 14 and for the past year I've been living with leukemia.
In my first PE lesson back at school, my PE teacher took me to the side as they were doing the warm-up, just to ask me how much I felt I'd be able to do. He told me that it was okay if I sat out lessons and if he could sort other things out for me.
I just wanted to let you know that a bit later on this is probably going to get into sort of contact. So if you wanted the option of going to the gym or doing something different, then you've got that choice.
I think I would pick the gym because if this goes into contact then maybe a bit too much, and if I'm in the gym I can work at my own pace and do what's right for me.
Yeah, no worries. Well, if you want to do a swap back, then just let us know and we'll make sure that happens for you, all right?
Yeah, that's excellent, thank you.
No worries.
I found this good because I knew that I didn't have to push myself into something that I wasn't able to do at that time, and I couldn't be embarrassed about it because he'd already said that it was okay if I didn't do it. When my teacher first met me and my dad, she talked to us about which lessons we thought we should do because we had a short amount of time to do it in.
Have a seat.
We only had 5 hours a week, so we couldn't fit all the lessons that I'd normally do at school in. We all decided that I needed to do the core subjects like maths, English and science, and that I could leave out things I didn't need as much, like art, drama and music. It was good doing this because it was my decision rather than people making decisions about what work I was going to do for me. Because it was my decision, it gave me more focus to do my work rather than being pushed to do something I didn't want to do.
Totally agree, they are the core subjects. They'll help you in other subjects as well, so it's a good choice. Are you happy with that, Dad?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a good conversation today. I think he feels very comfortable with that, and he's happy with things like that. I think that's the way to go.
Hey Matt, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm okay, thanks.
When I was in hospital, the teachers, they were in contact with my school and they were getting my teachers at school to send the work up to the hospital. The teachers, they would come in and say, "Oh, how are you feeling today?" If I said, "Oh, I'm feeling good today," then they'd say, "Right, let's do some work then. Today we're going to do a bit of maths." Other hospital, if they say, "Oh, what do you want to do today?" You don't really know what to say. You just say, "Oh, nothing really." But if you get someone telling you, "Oh, let's do this," and they're feeling more enthusiastic about it, then you're more likely to do it. When I was well enough to go back to school, I had a meeting with my head of year, head of pastoral care, my nurse, a social worker, and Dad and me and my teacher, and we decided that it'd be a good idea if I went into school for a few days before the end of summer term, just so I could feel what it was like to be back at school again, and so it wasn't a complete shock when I went back in September. At the end of term, I had another meeting.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So you're thinking sort of about 10 o'clock?
We decided that if I needed to have a reduced timetable for the start of the next year, then we'd do that, and we'd work out which lessons would be best and work out a timetable that would suit to keep me in the lessons that I needed to be in as much as possible. When I went back to school, I met with my head of pastoral care, and she signed my homework diary saying that if I needed to take any anti-sickness tablets, then it'd be okay. She told me that I should tell the teacher first, right, because if I just took a tablet in class, it might look a bit weird. It made me feel safer taking them in and knowing that I was allowed to, rather than taking something in that I wasn't sure if I was allowed to have. When we had my 6 weekly update, everyone listened to me and gave me a fair shout in it, so it wasn't me just sat in a room with adults talking about me. I was involved in the conversation as well. I found it really important to have meetings in school as well, because I could keep up with what they was doing in the subjects, so I didn't feel as if I was missing out too much on my schoolwork. When we had the meetings in school, it was quite a good opportunity to get into school and see some people, and not to feel like it was a scary place to go back to in September. I felt the meetings were me involved in them as well, rather than just people talking about me. So I found that the decisions were decisions that I liked as well, rather than made for me.